What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty here with another episode of Steelers War. We're talking all things Mike Tomlin and the press conference he gave, the one-to-one at the NFL meeting, where the coaches all come together, the rule changes, all these different things, post the acquisition of a number of players. Really interesting to hear Mike Tomlin's comments. And we're going to do our first Steelers mock draft post the free agency period, post the combine, together, those things heading into the NFL draft. A lot of our content is going to swing back toward NFL draft prospects. All right, Mike Tomlin's comments. I want to just do a quick highlight of a few things. You're going to hear different things, but this is my take on a few things he said. Number one is contract. He said he absolutely plans to remain the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that is really interesting from the perspective of the Steelers bringing back all the coaching staff they brought back with the DC, Terrell Austin, the bringing in OC Arthur Smith, him doing his deal. He did mention, of course, contract has to be worked out, but it made it sound like it's a formality. He referenced contract, maybe he wants a little pay bump, to deal with all the scrutiny he gets. Fair enough. I know there's some Mike Tomlin haters out there, but fair enough and fair play to Mike Tomlin. He talked about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. He talked about how Russell Wilson impressed them with what he knew about the Steelers. He talked about meat on the bones with Justin Fields and the ability for them to go trade for him after Kenny said he wanted a fresh start. He didn't bag Kenny. He didn't say Kenny acted like a spoiled brat. He didn't say Kenny wouldn't come back from injury. He's called that out last year with Gunnar Olszewski. Was nothing but high praise. He didn't go into that. He said, there were a lot of meat on the bones with Justin Fields, that it will be Russell Wilson's job to start with. Definitely he's got pole position, I think was the phrase used. But that Justin Fields as well, they're keen to see what he can do. And I really think this offseason, at least, they've brought in two guys that can play similar, that can run the offense, that have starting experience, can move the ball with their feet, etc. And the Steelers have got two options, even if something happens to Russell Wilson. And that is better than where they've been for a long time. Even with Ben's situation, if Ben got injured, as we saw in 2019, it's a massive challenge for the Steelers to get out and try and make the playoffs. They've got two guys in the right setup, mistake-free, low-margin football, should be able to get them there. So that's exciting. He talked about DeShon Elliot and the versatility, having played in the AFC North, knowing AFC North football. The versatility is important. The energy is important. The experience is important. He's got a chance to continue to improve. That's another really positive move, according to Mike Tomlin's language. He talked about Patrick Queen and how the guy's 24, played 67 games, always been available, knows the North, had a Pro Bowl caliber guy. You can expect him to get better. There's still growth in him. And I think that's a really interesting point, that a lot of people are judging Patrick Queen in the signing. Even I did it to a degree, that money, at that price. But the salary cap goes up. And if he improves even more than what he is, then that $13.7 million a year that works out to be is going to start to look pretty cheap. And the Steelers cover right options if it doesn't work out in the second year, but definitely the third year. So that's kind of exciting as well. You could tell that his assessment was really important. He did say that there's a lot of work to do with the draft. They've had a good combine, but they've only done piece one, and that's free agency. The team is still evolving, and that was in response to whether he was happy with where the team was at yet. So that's kind of interesting as well. It definitely shows you that they've got moves they want to continue to make in free agency. Obviously, wide receiver isn't a challenge for them. He also said there's still free agents out there that, can technically contribute. He didn't say it quite as clearly as that, but he did say free agency is ongoing. So that's kind of interesting too. Talked about rules and kickoff changes and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to let everyone else disseminate that. Let's see how it goes once it's in season. I think sometimes when these rules are announced now, it's kind of interesting, but I'm sure it will come up on the show, on the Global Steelers Global Perspective content that will come out this weekend. Shannon and I will be resuming normal stuff there, but we did enjoy the live show that we did the other day. That was awesome. Everyone was in the live chat. So yeah, that's kind of a high level on Mike Tomlin's press conference. Keen to hear in the comments as well. Is there anything that sort of piqued your interest that he mentioned in the interviews that he did? Now, I want to do the first Steelers mock on Steelers Touchdown Under since the combine and the first wave of free agency. I think that's really important because needs may have changed. I'm pre-recording this for when this goes out, but I've not pre-done the mock. You're gonna hear me react live, all the considerations, Matty P and the GM chair. And I'd love to hear with each pickers when I go back and look at the comments, I'd make each pick, throw in who you would have picked instead. That'll be quite fun. And I mean for lively comments and debate, particularly shout out Bernie if you get in there first, or my co-host Shannon White for the Steelers Global Perspective, or Marky D, because he's usually the first commenter. So let's see. I'm really excited to see who jumps in and what we do. All right, so we're going to use for today, in all intents and purposes, Pro Football Network. I like this because PFF overscales on their grades. PFF overscales on who users pick that do the mock draft. And I like PFN because their trades seem a lot more realistic when you actually run these compared to other people. I have really enjoyed NFL Draft Buzz this offseason as well. So when some of the mocks we do on the channel between now and the draft, I will definitely be using the mock draft from NFL Draft Buzz as well because, as I say, I enjoy their platform, but it is a lot on screen. And also, for all intents and purposes, I haven't done a Pro Football Network one in a while, and I want to do it because I know their rankings change after the combine. So let's get into it. We are picking, obviously, all 7 rounds. I'm going to go normal so you can see the flow of players. Other than do fast and have to recap every single one. So hopefully it rocks on pretty standard. And of course, we're going to be picking for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I also will caveat the rule that I am not going to make any proactive trades, but I may accept trades. So let's see how we go. All right, we enter into the draft, and the Steelers are picking Caleb Williams off the board first, then Jaden Daniels, then Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roma Dunze's off to the Chargers, Malik Neighbors is out, Alt is out, Fashano is out, Terran Arnold's out, Brock Bowers to the Jets. I have seen this a lot recently, same as JJ McCarthy to the Vikings. Quinion Mitchell's off the board, JC Latham's off the board, Troy Fatana's off the board, and we have a trade. Now, Jackson Powers Johnson is on the board. So most Steelers fans out there are like, click that button now, click that button now. But we have a trade. We can go back 3 spots to Minnesota, who probably need a tackle in this draft, kind of need a D tackle, need a cornerback, could do with some outside rush help as well. Then if we trade with them, right, then you've got the Bengals and Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia could go center, even though they've got Cam Jurgens there to replace Kelsey. Bengals need a tackle, and Bengals there are rumored to be around Amaris Mims as well if the Steelers don't grab it. So this is kind of interesting where it sits. But I don't think Jackson Powers Johnson is really in most drafts worth above a 20. I also like moving up 87 spots to 108. I'm going to take this trade. And I know there's people screaming in the comments, but that's all right. But we will see what other trade was offered, and that was 27 and 66. That puts me outside of some guys that I really like. So I'm not going to take that, okay? I'm going to be a little bit greedy, but I'm not going to be that greedy. So here we go. So I'm accepting a trade round. This could well happen. And this is what I've been advocating all offseason. Trade back 3 to 4 spots, in worst case 5, back past the Dallas Cowboys and see what you get. So here we go. We're going to accept this trade. Okay, Nate Wiggins is picked. Amaris Mims is picked. Kool-Aid McKinstry is picked. And now I'm offered another pick by the Bengals, which I don't like trading in the division. So that's going to be a rejection. Dallas want the 24th and the 4th. Now, they need DT help. They need outside rush help. They need safety help. They need wide receiver help. And they need tackle help. I'm going to take this with the 4th round pick next year. Now, I'm not going to use it to move up or down, but the Steelers could on draft day if they did this. So I'm going to accept it. They picked Tyler Guyton. Dallas want to come back again. I'm going to reject that. And the Steelers, with pick number 24, having acquired a 4th round 2025 pick, which could be, if Kenny Pickett plays well, that could be the pick there that you now are able to, they've already committed a different pick, but if they need a 2024 pick, that could be it. And we moved up 87 spots to play almost in the top 100, and we're still going to get Jackson Powers Johnson. So this draft is working out very well for the Steelers. Byron Murphy goes next. Trot Robinson, Christian Haynes, Keon Coleman, Bo Nix, Graham Barton, Cooper DeJean, Adonai Mitchell makes the 1st round, which is a rumor that that's going to happen. A lot of the top tackles end up off the board. Malachi Corley goes. That's a wide receiver I like for the Steelers. Darius Robinson, so Matiah's gone, Tyler Newbin's gone, Jatavian Sanders is gone, Bellin Trice is gone. Now, Zach Frazier is there. Now, a lot of us have, I know, probably love it on draft day that Zach Frazier gets drafted way ahead of 51. But remember, we were the ones that drafted center, and we were the top 3 or 4 teams that considered have a need at center. So that kind of moves it there. If you look at the top tackle on the board, and the Steelers do need a tackle at this rate, as we do this mock trade today, Steelers want to move Broderick to left tackle. They got a problem right now. Now, you do have Patrick Paul. I don't mind this guy out of Houston, 6'7", 331 pounds, massive guy, firmly in the mix for top 100 pick. But I do think this is overdrafting him. Equally, I don't love a lot of the picks right now. The Steelers do need interior help, and they do need cornerback help. Now, they have pick 51, and then they don't pick again until pick 84. You've also got some decent wide receivers. Like, I really like Polk, Jalen Polk at 57. I actually really think he's a really top player at wide receiver. He can make a lot of plays. He can do a lot of things. You then have guys like Chris Jenkins. You got Max Melton there. Like, it's kind of this is where it gets a little bit hard to make the decision. Lassiter's there. I'm not the biggest fan of Lassiter. I got to be straightforward on that. But these guys are going to fly. If I don't pick one of these guys off the board and look at the linebackers, Cooper's available. Although, again, I'm not liking how much edge he's played. Peyton Wilson's available. There'll be people. Shannon White's probably screaming at me in the comments right now. Do that. Michael Hall Jr. is there. A player the Steelers have been mocked to. Do you go pair this guy with Keanu Benton? I mean, that's where I'm kind of leaning at the moment. It's hard to say that when you've got, when you've got Max Melton still available on the board. There's a bunch of wide receivers as well. I kind of hate doing this, but I'm gonna go trenches. I said this last year. My theme with the draft was trenchy, not trendy. Michael Hall Jr. goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ohio State, we go get another Cam Hayward type from Ohio State. And here we go. So the Steelers pick. Now, Zach Frazier goes straight away to LA. Now, they were rumored to potentially be looking at Jackson Powers-Johnson in round 1. So not surprised to see that. Max Melton's off the board. Cornerback help. The Dolphins need that. Peyton Wilson's off the board. Massive linebacker there now for Patrick Paul for the 49ers. So there's some teams picking some needs here, but that's a good linebacker. Peyton Wilson going to Junior Colson's off. That was a linebacker we wanted. Man, Detroit's stacking them up. Cooper Beeb's off the board. Ricky Pearsall, Jalen McMillan. So we've lost a lot of the wide receivers now. Braden Fisk is off. Now, I probably could have picked Fisk in round 3. But anyway, that is what it is. We're not going to accept that trade from Green Bay. That's not worth it. And we're not going to accept Miami's trade. So we're going to reject both of those. All right. Now you look on the board. All the top players. The top player on the board is Marshawn Nealand out of Western Michigan. Then you got Christian Mahogany, the offensive guard out of Boston College. You got linebacker Trevor Wallace, who's moving up boards. You got Jeremiah Trotter there, who's a bit of a coverage guy. Now, do you bring him in the mix with Patrick Queen? That's a hard name to say no to right now. Steelers do need cornerback help. And if I look at the cornerbacks that I like on the board, I do like Josh Newton at 103. Remember, we have the 108th pick. Saints all right. I don't mind DJ James as well. So I'm probably not picking cornerback. Equally, when I look at the safeties, I think James Williams has already gone off the board, and they might have him listed here at linebacker as well. So we'll just check that. Yes, they've got him listed 101 linebacker. I actually have him as a safety. Now, the Steelers, remember, we are picking here at 84. The Steelers then obviously have 98, and then because of my trade, we have 108, and then we pick at 119. So we've got 4 picks in basically the next 40 picks. It's just about a little bit less than that. It's 36 picks. No, 35 picks. 35 picks. It's got 4 picks in 35. So we've got a lot of opportunities and moves we can make here. Now, if we go back to tackle, they're pretty much the guys. And Roger Rosengarten has moved up on the boards. I must say that. I don't love what we've got there. I'm not that big a fan of Blake Fisher. So this is kind of getting a bit interesting now. Same as interior, there's probably not anyone that makes sense to draft here. Center, we've obviously got that guy. QB, Steelers have made a bunch of moves there. I think this is deeper. Although Michael Pratt now is looking pretty nice at 114. Running back, it's probably way too early. Even the Notre Dame running back's not going to be taken that early. We don't really want to do that. But we did get a running back off the board before. Jonathan Brooks, went to Oakland. And we had Braylon Allen go to the Chargers. That's really helpful for them. And Blake Corum went 61st overall, the first running back off the board. Now, you look at wide receiver, Johnny Wilson, the massive kid, 6'7", out of Florida State. Jermaine Burton's there with Alabama. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's kid's there. Thrash is there. Malik Washington is there. Cowling is there. So there's a few wide receivers there. But I feel like we're going to go double down on defense. Austin Booker's there. You look at linebacker. I reckon you got... Man, it is hard to pick this spot because of some of the picks we've made. But I like Kalen Bullock as well. I worry about his weight, though. You know what? I'm picking Trotter, man. 4 spots higher. I'm picking Jeremiah Trotter. Ooh, very Trevor Wallace. Now this is where it gets hard. They're undersized. But the Steelers with a coverage linebacker. I'm doing it, man. I'm picking Jeremiah Trotter in the 3rd round. Here we go. We picked him. All right. D.D. James, Josh Newton goes. So the Steelers right now, not great from a cornerback perspective. But remember, Joe Porter, Dante Jackson, Trice, Rush. They could always bring back Patrick Peterson. Been offered a trade here. I'm not doing it. I'm not removing a pick from the top 100. The Steelers probably would have traded up back then and used some picks to go get that cornerback, maybe that 4th that they had the previous year as well. So we'll see how that goes. Cornerbacks now. Saint Stroll is there. Kalen King is there. I don't mind Kalen King, but I didn't like his 40-yard time at the combine. That pushed him way down my list. I had a 3rd-round grade on him otherwise. Look, it's hard with Saint Stroll out of Michigan. You kind of like that guy coming out. You like Jaden Hicks as well. Jaden Hicks is a hard one to go past, but he's probably a little bit overdrafted at this spot. Malik Washington could be interesting, but I don't love the height. I'm going to be straight on that. There's a lot of guys here around this 120 mark, 111 mark that you kind of like. Tight end there, Theo Johnson. It's kind of hard not to, I kind of like him too. I like Austin Booker edge, but the Steelers don't really have a need there. Bucky Irvin out of Oregon's not too bad. I do like James Williams, but we are picking him again, at 108 on this board. So we've got 10 spots. I love James Williams, and to pair him with DeShon Elliot, I really, really like James Williams in this. The Steelers do need a cornerback. They do need cornerback help. They could scheme this kid like Mike Hilton. We're going to go Mike Sainstrell. Bucky Irving goes. Tone. Spencer Rattler's gone. Caden Stover's gone. Nealon's gone. Rice is gone. Dwayne Carter's gone. Kyrie Jackson's gone. Now Steelers can pick again. They can get 113 and 165 and Washington 7th next year. I'm taking that. We need the extra pick for a few guys. We are taking that trade. They pick Booker. Interesting. They get more linebacker and edge rush help. Oof. That is a massive selection of picks here. 113 for 126, 169, and 202. I would take this trade if the Steelers needed a punter. But the fact they got Cameron Johnston, I'm not going to take this trade. The Steelers need to pick a guy. This is where we're going to do it. Now, Jermaine Burton, we're going to go with this guy. I'm going to go with it. I really want to go James Williams, but we're going to see if we can get him at 119. So we're going to go Jermaine Burton. I'm going to trust that we can get someone a bit later on. Let's go Jermaine Burton. Out of Alabama, the Steelers go with a top college wide receiver. Cowan goes next. Williams is gone. Damn, I thought we were going to get him. That sucks. Now we can trade pick 119 and get 154, 155, and 196. I'm going to reject that. And I'm going to Steelers pick again. We don't pick again for a while now because of some of the trades we've made. 165. Ooh, I probably should have taken that trade, actually. Now the Steelers have got a choice, and this is what could happen on draft day. Do you double down on quarterback? Do you look to get someone even later a quarterback? So let's look at all the quarterbacks available right now. Travis, Milton, Reed, Hartman. I look at the tight end. I really like Theo Johnson, and the Steelers need a 3rd tight end at the moment. That is what they need. They also need a tackle, and Matt Goncalves is still available, but I think he will slip. Same as Christian Jones, my guy. He will go much higher this on draft day, so we're gonna leave him. He might be the 165th pick when I'm picking there. We have picked a safety as well. I know that we didn't end up picking a safety. That's right, because we're saving for James Williams. So there we go. I would love to trade back in, but I said I would not do that, and that's the way we're going to keep it. Edge rushers, we don't really need that guy. Linebacker, we went and got one. I do like Tyrese Knight, though, so if he is there later on, we could look to him. I also like Jalen Ford. I think I'm going to upset some people here, but I think I'm going to go tight end. You need help here. You need a guy. He's the pretty much the third best tight end in this draft, potentially second best if you like him over Stover and Sinnott. So he's top 4. You need someone. He's got 80% of Pat Freeman's touchdown yards production. We're going to go Theo Johnson there at pick 119. Travis goes next, then Michael Pratt. So the quarterbacks, those guys are off the boards. Goncalves goes as well. San Francisco doubling up on tackle. Jalen Ford goes. So there's guys coming way off the board. Now there's a lot of guys. Tyler Davis has been mocked to the Steelers. Big moves happening now. A lot of the prospects that we want. But Milton's still on the board, the quarterback. So perhaps he will be available for the Steelers later on. Maybe I should have taken the 1-5, the triple pick for 113. But it is what it is. And we'll see. Milton's off the board as well. So Steelers are going to get a very late round quarterback now, maybe a UDFA. And that is well how it could go in the draft. Now they've got Fields and now they've got Russell Wilson. McCaffrey's off the board. Again, goes pretty late. Tackles. Ooh. I haven't offered that pick. I'm going to reject that pick. What have we got? Wide receiver. No one I really like. Quintus Johnson's okay. I like Eric All as well this late. If Theo Johnson was already gone, I will say that. I do like Theo Johnson. I do like Eric All. I think he's really rated out of Iowa. Bogby out of Alabama's not a bad defensive tackle. Neither is Gabe Hall. But I'm going to go with the guy that I keep going on about in this draft that I think is a massive sleeper pick. Christian Jones out of Texas comes in to actually pad that tackle lineup and try and make force down more of the bench, and get Broderick Jones to the left side. Not what a lot of people will be picking, but there we go. This is what it's going to be. All right, now the Steelers get to pick again here at 178. We then don't pick again until this is our final pick because of the trades I've made. All right, Steelers now. What have we picked? Let's recap for the final pick. We've picked center. We've picked defensive tackle. We've picked linebacker. We've picked cornerback. We've picked wide receiver. We picked tight end, and we have picked a tackle out of our 7 picks. So we have 3 defensive picks, and we are 4 offensive picks. Where do we go from here is the interesting point of view. Now, Steelers have got linebacker help. We got cornerback help. We got defensive end help. We got linebacker help. Do we go or defensive end, defensive tackle? There's a few more linebackers on the board. Probably don't need those guys. Edge guys, couple of interesting prospects here, quite late. Defensive tackle. There's another guy that I really like. It's Evan Anderson, but he might have, out of FAU. If undrafted, he could be a freak, but he'll go pretty late. Safety help is still an issue, I feel, currently on the guys that I've got for this team. But I like the versatility of Trotter as well. So Sione Vaki out of Utah could be a really interesting player, played alongside Cole Bishop. Same as Trey Taylor out of Air Force. He could be a really interesting player. I do like him late. Would he be overdrafted at this point? Quite possibly. You look at running backs as well. There's a few guys there. The Boise State guy, Kamani Vidal, also gets a bit of a look in with a lot of different draft mocks, draft prospects. Look at quarterback, no one really there. You can probably get Slovis or Hartman undrafted, so that's fine. Wide receiver, again, no one really stands out. I do like Bub Means out of Pittsburgh, though, and he had a good combine. He was a player I said to look out for. Look at tackles, again, no one really there. Guards, I don't mind Lemire out of Utah, but I don't deeply see it as a need with Nate Herbig under contract. I don't mind Drake Nugent either. He's a big player out of Michigan, but again, I'm not fully sold on that. I think we're going to go safety. I want to pick someone that a lot of people are not on in Trey Taylor out of Air Force. Player that a lot of people might have seen before or be familiar with, but I've heard some great things. I've seen some good things, early things on tape. Hard to go past Sione Vaki. I do think the Steelers need bigger safety help. I do like the idea of doing that. And so with that, we are going to pick Trey Taylor out of Air Force. And that is going to finish, well, actually, the draft will keep cycling through. We'll see who's left from the undrafted free agent perspective. And then we will finish it off. where we go. But it is interesting. It's a hard thing when you do move around with all those different trades. And I'm going to recap those while the rest of the draft plays out. So Jackson, we moved back from 20 to 23 and 108. We also traded 195. Minnesota got Nate Wiggins. Then we traded back from 23 for pick 24 and a Dallas fourth, which you probably, the Steelers, if you don't make this trade, would jump back into the draft for this. Dallas picked up Tyler Guyton. They do need tackle help, losing Tyron Smith. Yeah, the first round guy there, we get Jackson Powers Johnson. The Steelers get Jackson Powers Johnson. With 195, pick 108 that we got, we traded back to 113. And then we also got 165. That gave us Jermaine Burton and Christian Jones. The Ravens got Austin Booker, kind of sucking not to pick him for the Steelers, and we traded away a Washington 7th, but Steelers get two players that could be one a depth piece, one even a possible starter. And that kind of is way you get away with 8 players on this team, and you multiply your picks, and you've got one that you can jump back into as well. So kind of exciting. That was good from the Draft Network. Kind of interesting to see. If you look at where Frazier went as well, he went just after the Steelers because we didn't pick him in the second round. Interesting first round here. Drake May going third. But yeah, Terran Arnold went in the top 10. That's probably quite likely. Joe Alt went off to Tennessee. Roma Dunze was the second wide receiver off the board. We had 3 wide receivers after 3 quarterbacks. So a lot of defensive guys there. Jared Verse went pretty high. That's kind of expected. And then there was a bit of run on edge as well. Cooper DeJean made it into the first round, but the Steelers definitely improved. Right tackle is probably the only weak spot on the offense after who we selected. We got better at linebacker. We got better at defensive tackle. We got better at cornerback. We got better at defensive tackle, which they kind of addressed by bringing back Montravius Adams, but not that much more. Got Jeremiah Trotter in there between Cole Holcomb, Patrick Queen, Landon Roberts, potentially bring back Quan Alexander as well, and Mark Robinson. I kind of like that linebacker room. At least Jeremiah Trotter is going to be good in the coverage side of things. You bring in Saints-Struhl to be the 3rd or 4th cornerback on the team as well. That's a pretty strong move, I think. A lot of people are quite high on Saints-Struhl. You bring in Burton to be a 3rd, 4th wide receiver. That can be really helpful for you as well. You bring in Theo Johnson to help the tight end room. They're going to be really important now for Smith offense. That's why I picked him. We also, Pat Freeman, concussions. Darnell Washington's not a proven receiving tight end yet, so that's why it made sense. Go get help with Christian Jones, one of my favorite tackles in the draft. You got him much later than I think he'll actually be drafted on draft day. And you got Trey Taylor, who's a guy I've liked in a lot of the mocks. I think he's good value in the 6th or the 7th round. Going to surprise a few people when he makes it into the NFL. And at least will be a really good special teams player. So it's exciting for Trey Taylor. And we picked up a 4th from Dallas next year, which helps balance out the Kenny Pickett trade, even if Kenny Pickett hits the upper echelon of the remuneration for that pick. But hey, let me know in the live chat, and let me know in the comments if you enjoyed these picks, if you hated these picks. If you watched it fully, you'll know that there were certain moves we had to make. We did accept some trades, but we did go out there and we did get the best center in the draft, and we didn't overdraft him. In fact, we moved back and we got more picks. Can't argue with that on draft day. I'm Matty P. As always, go Steelers.